together. Everybody, Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody with your heart.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisance of self-pleasure, Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, verse 31, and the chapter is entitled The Punishment and Reward of Kali. We will start with the opening invocation prayers and go straight into the discussion. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana, Yamunatira Vanachari, Yamunatira Vanachari, Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Haribo, Haribo. Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parigracharya Stotra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parigracharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nanta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gauru Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Maipur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glory is to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glory is to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glory is to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glory to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutara Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Namani. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prati Ashadat Mani Shri Gaura Karna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyvari Pachyatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So as we discussed that we will be discussing, as we mentioned, we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, verses 31. The chapter is entitled The Punishment and Reward of Kali. I will chant the Sanskrit 3 times and I request devotees to please chant after me. Rajo Vacha Nati Guda Keshaya Sodaranam Bhadanjale Vaibhayanasti Kinchit Navarti Tatvam Bhavata Kantanchana Kshetre Madiyatva Madharma Bandhu Rajo Vacha Nate Guda Keshaya Sodaranam Bhadanjale Vaibhayanasti Kinchiyat Navartitvam Bhavata Kantanchana Kshetre Madhiyatva Madharma Bandhu Rajavacha Nate Guda Keshaya Sodaranam Badhanjalir Vaibhavamasti Kinchit Narvatitvam Bhavata Kantanchana Kshetre Madhiyatvam Adharma Bandhu. Devotees can chant, please.
Raju Vacha Te Guda Keshaya Shudaranam Padanya Vaipayamasti Kinchit Tavyam Bhavata Katanchana Kshetre Madhiyatvam Adharma Bandhu.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to try?
Rajo Vacha Nate Gudakeshe Shodharanam Baddha Jwalalevare Bhayamasti Kinchit Navartitve Bhavata Kathachana Kshetra Madhye Tvam Dharma Bandhu. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol Preeti, very nice. Hari Bol. Anyone else would like to? Yes, go ahead, Varsha.
Rajo Vacha न ते गुडाकेशय दृशोदराणां बद्धाञ्चलैर्वै भयमस्ति किञ्चित् न वर्तित्वयं भवता कथनञ्चन क्षेत्रे मतीये त्वं धर्मबन्धुः. हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Very inspiring to see the Matajis jumping in and chanting with us. Awesome, wonderful. We'll go for the word translation. Rajo Vacha, the king said, na, not. Te, your. Gutakesha, Arjuna. Yashadharanam, of us who inherited the fame. Badha Anjale, one with folded hands. Vai, certainly. Bhayam, fear. Asti, there is. Kinchit, even a slight. Na, neither. Vartitavam, can be allowed to live. Bhavata, by you. Kathanchana, by all means. Kshetre, in the land. Madhye, in my kingdom. Tvam, you. Adharma Bandhu, the friend of e-religion. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The king thus said, we have inherited the fame of Arjuna. Therefore, since you have surrendered yourself with folded hands, you need not fear for your life, but you cannot remain in my kingdom, for you are the friend of e-religion. Purport, the personality of Kali, who is the friend of all kinds of irreligiosities, may be excused if he surrenders, but in all circumstances, he cannot be allowed to live as a citizen in any part of a welfare state. The Pandavas were entrusted representatives of the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, who practically brought into being the battle of Kurukshetra, but not for any personal interest. He wanted an ideal king like Maharaj Yudhisthira and his descendants like Maharaj Parikshit to rule the world. And therefore, a responsible king like Maharaj Parikshit could not allow the friend of irreligiosity to flourish in his kingdom at the cost of the good fame of the Pandavas. That is the way of wiping out corruption in the state and not otherwise. The friends of irreligiosity should be banished from the state, and that will save the state from corruption. Om Maganati Mirandyasya Gana Gana Shalakaya Chakshur Onmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation, the king thus said, we have inherited the fame of Arjuna. Therefore, since you have surrendered yourself with folded hands, you need not fear for your life, but you cannot remain in my kingdom, but you are the friend of irreligion. So this is the part where the king, Maharaj Parikshit, frees Kali after seeing the real identity of who he is. When he has shed his true costume, lack of a better word, true material coverings, and has shown the real person for who he is. The king did not kill him, but the king told him, but the king, Maharaj Parikshit, set him free. Now here we're in the section where Srila Prabhupada is telling us, not only did he set him free, he told him to leave the kingdom. Very, very important point. Srila Prabhupada is reminding us that Maharaj Parikshit, not only did he set him free, meaning he did not kill him. Maharaj Parikshit could have killed him, but he was a very compassionate, pure devotee of the Lord, coming from the ancestry or the representatives of the Pandavas, who were pure devotees of the Lord, right? He had to uphold the name of his ancestors. He had to uphold the reputation and the fame of the Pandavas, his grandfathers and great-grandfathers. He had to practically live and walk that life. So here, Srila Prabhupada is teaching us, there are many lessons actually in this purport. It's a very kind of a short purport, but very, very deep with many, many lessons. Here, Srila Prabhupada is teaching us that not only did Maharaj Parikshit set Kali free, he told him to leave the kingdom, which we will address in a few minutes. And why is it that Maharaj Parikshit did not kill Kali? He could have. He's a king. He's a warrior. He could have. But he is remembering, who are my ancestors, the Pandavas, who were pure devotees of Lord Krishna, who Lord Krishna entrusted the Pandavas to be the right heir, the right representatives to Hastinapur. Okay? And the Lord himself, Lord Krishna himself, wanted an ideal king to rule the world, like Maharaj Yudhishthira and Maharaj Parikshit. So here, Srila Prabhupada is reminding us that we have to uphold the parampara system. We have to be examples for Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master. I'm just remembering that once I was told, my God family was told by my spiritual master, the way we behave reflects our spiritual master. Very, very, very important point. When people see us, the way we behave, the way we carry ourselves, the way our demeanor, the way we speak, the way we talk, the way we mingle, communicate, converse, devotees should know, this must be her spiritual master. This must be his spiritual master, right? We have heard many times that a child is identified by the way the parents raise the child. We've heard that many, many times, many, many times. We forget about it. But Prabhupada is so merciful that he brings up different topics for us to remind ourselves over and over and over again. The behavior of the child is reflected on how the parents raise the child. So here, as devotees, the way we behave, the way we speak, the way we converse, the way we interact, our etiquette, our, what have you, and, reflects on our spiritual master. So here, Prabhupada is reminding us and teaching us that Maharaj Parikshit is a true representative of his ancestors, and they are the Pandavas, who were the pure devotees of the Lord and representatives of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So we have to ask ourselves, how can I be an example for my guru? And those of us who are not initiated, our guru is Prabhupada. We have been told time and time again, for those devotees who are not initiated, their spiritual master is the preeminent guru for all, is Srila Prabhupada. The preeminent guru for everyone, regardless, is Srila Prabhupada. So we have to ask ourselves, we have to really meditate on this. How can I be an example for Srila Prabhupada? By my speech, my behavior, my language, my character, the way my demeanor. How can I be a representative of Srila Prabhupada, who is my ancestor? It's very important that we check our behavior. We check ourselves. But it's so sad that nowadays, people in general, whether they're devotees or not, it doesn't matter anymore, because Kali Yuga is progressing. Kali Yuga is not going to, see, Kali Yuga has no partiality. It's an equal opportunity employer, EOE. So Kali Yuga will get into devotees and into non-devotees. It just depends whether we allow the Maya to get to us or not. So we have to be very strong. We have to be very aware by our behavior. You know, like sometimes when we sing in Kirtan, we show a sad face. But the funny thing is, the Lord is right before us in his deity form, and we're dancing in Kirtan, we're showing a sad face. No smile on our face. Are we happy to see Krishna? Are we happy to be dancing for the Lord? Are we happy to be dancing for Nitai Gaurachandra? Are we happy to dance with the devotees? Check our behavior, the way we speak. During prasadam time, when we mingle with devotees, what are we talking about? Are we talking about what happened today, what happened yesterday, what I wore, what sari I wore, which shopping I did? What are we talking about? Would that be pleasing to my spiritual master? Would that be pleasing to Srila Prabhupada? We're here for service. We should be discussing, learning. I don't understand this. How can I become better? I don't understand this. How can I become better? Please explain to me. How can I become a better devotee of the Lord? Right? Srila Prabhupada is teaching us that we have to be very, very aware of our actions. As they say, action speaks louder than words. Action speaks louder than words. By the way we behave is the first impression, which is always the lasting impression. Always. So we have to always check ourselves. How am I behaving? How am I conversing? What am I conversing? What am I talking? What am I communicating? How am I communicating? Am I enthusiastic to see devotees? Am I happy to dance in Kirtan? Do I really want to hear the lecture? Am I really listening to the lecture? Am I giving my 100% to the lecture? Very important. To the classes. Very, very important. So here, Srila Prabhupada is teaching us that we have to be careful of our actions and behavior, because however we act and we behave, we are representing our spiritual master. We are representing Srila Prabhupada. Another point that Srila Prabhupada mentions here that is really important is how easily it is to get tempted in this crazy material world. So what is temptation? So temptation is to do something wrong, sinful, bad, or unfit. And it comes in many shapes, forms, and manners. We have heard from our acharyas about the example of the jewel on the hood of the serpent. What's a serpent? A snake. The jewel may appear very beautiful. It's, imagine a beautiful jewel on the hood of the serpent. Looks very tantalizing, enticing, beautiful, attractive, shiny, But Baba, it's on the head of the snake. If we grab it, what happens? We're going to get bitten by the cobra. That is temptation. That is temptation. So here, Srila Prabhupada is teaching us that one must be very careful and cautious not to go close to such temptation that is going to make us be bitten by the snake of temptation. Very, very important. This purport is actually pretty deep. It's very practical, actually. It's very, very practical. Another point that Srila Prabhupada has, if you notice in this verse, Srila Prabhupada has used the word irreligiosity 3 times. In the purport alone, He repeated the word irreligiosity 3 times. And in the translation, he mentioned it 1 time. So then we want to ask ourselves, what is irreligiosity? What are the examples? So before we talk about that, we all know that it's very important to be strict in our religious principles. We should protect our home, our family, and our community from non-religious principles. What are they? Temptations, like we mentioned about the jewel on the head on the hood of the serpent, on the head of the serpent. We have to be very careful that we don't fall prey to Maya. But then, what are they? So the reverse of religion is irreligion. So let's take a little time to find out what are the examples of irreligious principles. Number 1, greed. Greed doesn't come in the form of physical item. Greed manifests in the mind. I want what she wants. I want what she wants. The mind is such a rascal. I want what he wants. He got it. How come I didn't get it? He got it. So I'm going to work hard to become like him. That's greed. Another irreligious principle is untruthfulness. We say something and we're not being honest. Untruthfulness. It's very common. And sadly, this irreligious principles, sometimes we think that they exist in the non-devotee community, and that is not true, which we will address later on. Another irreligious principle is robbery. Another irreligious principle is rude speech and behavior. Rude speech and behavior, being impolite, is an irreligious principle. Another one is betrayal of trust and deception. We betrayed the trust in someone else. Another one is cheating. Again, think of these terms in terms of something concrete, but no, all these irreligious principles can come up in the mind. Cheating mentality, quarreling mentality, and proud, irreligious principles. So like I mentioned, sometimes we think that we see these irreligious principles only in the non-devotee community and not in the devotee community. But I'll be very honest with you. It exists in both, because why? Maya is very strong. And why is it that we see these principles both in the non-devotee world, so to speak, lack of a better word, or in the devotee community? Because Maya is strong. Maya just needs a little bit of opening to come and overtake anyone who is weak. When we are weak, we have allowed Maya to take over us. So we have to be strong by building religious principles. It is really sad. For example, I'll give another example, which I think I've mentioned many times, but I'll repeat it. In a classroom of grade 1 students, or any grade students, not all the students in the class are of the same level of intelligence, knowledge, and understanding. You have A grade students, you have B grade students, you have C grade students, you even have E and F grade students. It varies in one grade now. But they're all here to learn to pass the grade 1 to go to grade 2. Are they given the same kind? Are they able to receive the knowledge at the same level? No, because they are different level of intelligence, different level of grasping the understanding and the knowledge. So if a D or E student cannot grasp the knowledge, they need extra help, what we call tutoring, right? Whereas the A student, you tell them one time, they get it. They just get 100%. So if there are varying degrees of students in grade A, sorry, in grade 1 or grade 2 or grade 10 or whatever, what to speak of in a devotee community? Every one of us are different, varying degrees. If we are weak, we have allowed Maya to have a whirlwind with us. If we are strong, we can fight the irreligious principles. So it does exist in both. So if one says, but I don't want to fall prey, what do I do? Associate with devotees who are strong. Associate with devotees who are not going to bring you down. Associate with devotees who can differentiate religious and irreligious principles. Associate with devotees that will help you to become strong. Very, very important. And now another point that Srila Prabhupada said, very powerful point, he says is, he goes on to say that when we see such characters of irreligiosity, irreligious principles, what should we do? Wipe out the corruption. Wipe out the corruption. If you see in the translation, which I'm going to pull up here, in the word-for-word synonym translation, Srila Prabhupada described Arjuna as Gudakesha. And if we know what that term means, one who does not sleep. He got that boon from his guru, Dronacharya. Gudakesha means one who does not sleep. Now, why would Srila Prabhupada use to describe Arjuna as Gudakesha, one who does not sleep? Why not Savyasachi? Why not Krishna? Why not Dhananjay? All those names. Why Gudakesha? If we study the purport more, Srila Prabhupada is telling us we should not be sleeping. That's why he used the word Gudakesha to describe Arjuna, one who does not sleep. Why? Because as soon as we sleep, here comes the temptations. Here comes the wrongdoings. Here comes the wrong habits. Here comes the sinful activities. Here comes the irreligious principles. We have to be alert. Gudakesha. We have to be alert 24/7. We have to be alert. Only then can we wipe out the corruption, as Srila Prabhupada said. Srila Prabhupada said very clearly, when we see such characters, right? When we see such irreligious principles, we should wipe out the corruption. But in order to wipe out the corruption, in order to identify, in order to recognize that there are irreligious principles, irreligious characters, we should be alert, not sleeping. We should be Gudakesha, alert. So how do we wipe out the corruption? How do we wipe out the corruption? By not taking their association. Like we mentioned earlier, Maharaj Parikshit could have killed Kali. He could have. As soon as he saw that the true form, he could have killed Kali. He did not do that. One, he set him free. Two, now he's saying, you are banished from my kingdom. You are banished from my kingdom because I have to save my kingdom from your corruption. So Srila Prabhupada is reminding us to wipe out corruption. We should not take the association of people with irreligious principles. And like we mentioned, irreligious principles happens everywhere. In the temple, in the church, in the mosque, in the school, in the work, in government. It's everywhere. But we have to be alert and associate with those who don't have these principles. By association, Srila Prabhupada, this is a nice quote by Srila Prabhupada that I would like to read and share. By association, we increase our knowledge, experiences, revelation, and struggles and joys of devotional service. So we have to think. By association, what am I getting from this association? It is extremely, extremely important that as devotees, practicing devotees, that we take time and evaluate our association. Are we having association with certain people because we just want to just show our face, as they say? You know, like I've heard people say, yeah, I'm not in good terms with them, but let me just go show my face and come back. Are you pleasing the person, or are you trying to please yourself? What am I getting from this association? Sometimes we have association with people who have caused so many problems, but in the name of friendship, we still associate with them. In the name of who? What am I benefiting from that association? Srila Prabhupada clearly says, by association, we increase our knowledge. So we should ask ourselves, when I associate with this person, when I'm going to this person's house, or when I'm going to visit this person, or when I'm going to, whatever, am I increasing my knowledge? Am I increasing my experiences? Am I getting better revelation? What does that term mean? Revealing, reflection, realizations. Is it helping me to increase the joy of my devotional service? Is it helping me to understand and realize that it's the beauty of struggling in devotional service? If the answer is no, then why are we having that association? Prabhupada clearly says, and this is a Vani quote by Prabhupada, it's not from me. I'm literally reading Prabhupada's Vani quote. Prabhupada said, by association, we increase our knowledge, experiences, revelation, and struggles and joys of devotional service. If we are not increasing any of this, why are we associating? Very, very good lesson for us to meditate on, be aware of. Because if we are not strong, we can be pulled down by another person's association. We can be pulled down easily by another person's. I mean, very easy. It takes seconds. We won't even know. We will not know at all. It'll happen before our eyes and we won't even know. Why? That's the covering, the jadoo, the magic, as they say. It'll happen before our eyes and we will not even notice that we have been covered. We have to be very strong to be in the right association. Srila Prabhupada goes on to say, regarding neighbors or relatives, one has to be careful in association, including relatives, Srila Prabhupada says. Imagine that. Very careful regarding neighbors and relatives. one should be careful in association. I'll tell you a pastime without mentioning names. Many years ago, I want to say about 8 years, probably 7, 8 years. I used to teach Sunday school at this temple. This was before we got the temple. This was actually, no, 10 years ago. This was back in 2009, I want to say. It's a long time ago. Yeah. More than 10 years. Before we got this temple, we were like a Namahata. And I used to teach the Sunday school for the older kids. And there was one family, one parent that wanted me to accept her child in my class when I know that the child has zero knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And I basically told the mother that I cannot put the child in my class when she is not even at the same level with the other kids. So she said, no, but one of the other kid in your class is her friend. I said, yeah, but they're like varying degrees. If I have to teach that child, I have to have tutoring classes. I cannot have tutoring classes. So I told her, I can give you the subjects. She can learn at home and bring her up to speed. And then she can, fit right into my class. The mother didn't agree. She wanted me to do the magic. I said, I can't do the magic. So she was so upset that publicly in the Namahata, she shouted at me, she insulted me, she raised voice at me, and I just didn't say a word. I didn't say a word. I just let her go on because I could tell that she was not in the right mindset. Krishna's arrangement, she happened to be my neighbor now. And I don't deal with her. And she doesn't talk to me. And I don't talk to her. Because why? Her association from that time was so poisonous that I said, I'm not dealing with this. She's my next door neighbor. Now, her husband talked to my husband because they do some fixing and, the repairs outside, something painting with the house, whatever. But I don't talk to her because I have seen the character and I don't want to be part of that character. I don't want that association. So I don't deal with it. Just literally side by side house, my neighbor. So here, actually, I'm very happy I'm reading this because it is a confirmation for me that what I'm doing is right by Prabhupada. But Prabhupada says, regarding neighbors or even relatives, one must be careful in association. And I have relatives who I cut ties. I literally do. I don't deal with them because I don't want to be in that association. One of them, is in Maryland. My father has tried a million, gazillion, trillion ways to make peace between me, to help to entice me to talk to this relative in Maryland. I did it 3 times and I'll never do it again. For the past 2 years, he's been trying. And I told my dad, it ain't going to work. Until I die, it ain't going to work because I've given 3 chances and the association is so toxic. It's so toxic that I told my dad, no, I need to protect my life. I'm not dealing with it. So here Shri Prabhupada is saying we have to be very, very careful. One should endeavor to give association, but not take association to the extent possible, especially in matters related to religion, way of life, and life's wisdom. Prabhupada said it. So we have to be very, very careful that how do we wipe out the corruption of irreligious principles in our lives? How do we wipe out the corruption of irreligious principles from associating with people who have that? We don't take their association. Very simple. Shri Prabhupada even says, small talk which comes within gossip should be avoided to all extent possible. Even small talk within a gossip. Not only is it a gossip, it's a small talk within a gossip, Prabhupada is saying, should be avoided to the extent possible. Why is Prabhupada giving us so much warnings of association? Because Kali Yuga is progressing rapidly, and the quicker Kali Yuga is progressing, the more we can fall into the dungeon of wrong association. So we have to be very, very, very careful. And Srila Prabhupada says, association of spiritually advanced devotees is essential for making progress in love for Krishna. I'm going to repeat that again. Association of spiritually advanced devotees is essential for making progress in love for Krishna. Very important. So we have to really choose our friendship. We have to really choose our association. We cannot continue associating just because we want to please somebody. I'll just go, just go show my face. Who are you pleasing? Even if we go show our face, we better be strong that we don't get sucked in. We better be strong that we don't get sucked in. Seriously, because Maya is very strong. So here Srila Prabhupada is teaching us that we have to be alert. Gudakesha, another name for Arjun. We have to always be alert. Always have our guards up. Have our guards on. And identify the irreligious principles in the association that can pull us down spiritually. And how to wipe out the corruption? To not take the association. Because that will pull us down, including neighbors, and Prabhupada says, even relatives. So what I do with relatives? I keep an arm's length distance. I see you. Hi, how are you? Done. Close chapter. I'm good. I'm good. And in fact, the more we have that demeanor, the more that we carry ourselves in that nature, especially with neighbors and relatives, the more we are protecting ourselves, and also we are protecting others from giving us their association to us. The more we carry ourselves strongly with religious principles, with proper association, and the more we know how to not take and deal with those who we don't want the association, the more we are protecting ourselves, and we are putting a barrier between me and them, saying, I'm not messing with you, you don't mess with me. And they'll understand, okay, you know what, this person is this way, we should respect her in that person. So it's very, very important that we choose the right association and wipe out and not take the corrupted association. So this, as I said, this is a power-packed purport with lots of, every line actually has a lesson. Every line has a instruction, lesson plus instruction. So it's very important. This is a power-packed purport. So I want to thank you for allowing me to share my realization from this power-packed purport, and want to thank Srila Prabhupada for confirming what I have been doing, so that I know that what I'm doing is right. So I'm very grateful to Srila Prabhupada for confirming my actions, with certain association with certain people. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So thank you all so much for allowing me to speak and share. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Would like to ask devotees if any questions, any comments, any takeaways, any realizations, please do share, do post in the chat, and I'll be happy to read it. Or you can unmute yourself, and I would like to hear from you. Yes, Prakshit, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, peace of Sept, with the obeisances, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. This is a very, very, very important topic, and we have learned a lot today. I know I have. Personality of Kali and Maharaj Pariksit freeing him, but he is a personality of a religion. So he said he can't be allowed to live as a citizen so easily like everybody else is, because Lord Krishna wanted the better people, the Pandavas, to rule the world. So many things you've talked about that I made note of. The point of the importance of associating with devotees who are strong if we're weak. Actually, devotee association is extremely important because that's how we grow.
Yep.
So we do what they do. You'd always look for those who are stronger because we know the areas where we're weak. So if we look at other devotees, what they do, and it's better than what we are doing, and you associate with them like that. And you talked about the part about Srila Prabhupada, literally, rubber stamping what you're doing in terms of being careful about who you associate with. That's very, very, very important. As we live here and as we come to the temple, we will find out that if you want peace of mind, there are certain devotees you should associate with, and then there are certain devotees who you should be cordial with, but not associate so much with. It is not bad because this is a class. We're all learning how to be loving. And so if a person has not grown in love by much and you associate with them, they're going to pull you down. Mm. So it is very, very important, all these top points that you've brought up. And let me just thank you for this is quite an important topic, the level of association, the quality of association, and the different negative things that we have to watch for: greed, lying, cheating, betraying of trust, quarrel, pride, discussing all of that. If we take this point or these discussions seriously, we'll find ourselves growing because this is shedding the negativity and reaching out for the positive things that advanced devotees can bring. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. It's by the mercy of Guru and Goranga, absolutely, because very, very powerful point, because we have to really choose the right association to grow. And like Prabhupada says, we should be increasing. By associating, we should be increasing spiritually and not just, just for the sake of it. But yes, thank you. Thank you. Any other points from devotees? Any takeaways? Any thoughts? Any reflection? Anything that's coming to your mind? Just going down the list so I don't miss anybody. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
I'll make another point.
Yeah.
As you were, talking now, another point that just came to mind was, and this is in the Shastra, association with a pure devotee.
Mhm.
When you associate with a pure devotee, so much can be learned, so much purity can be gained from the association. And I was just thinking, because we associated with our spiritual master in the 90s, it wasn't just a question of, and this is just information to the devotees, it wasn't just a question of what he said only, but because we're living with him, we could see how his life was like.
Mhm.
His life was an example of how to be a devotee. And I'm not putting Bhaktivinoda Maharaj as the only one, absolutely not. All of them, the gurus are like that. But when you get closer to them and you have to associate with them on a daily basis, you get to know what devotion is like in terms of not only what they say, but what they do and what they do not do, and what they approve of and what they do not approve of by how they're living. So association, when devotee, pure devotee or an advanced devotee comes around, take advantage of their presence and learn as much as you can from them, because it will really make your devotion grow in so many steps. You understand so many things.
Yeah,
Just wanted to
it's
add that.
true.
Hare Krishna.
It's true. The more we associate with spiritually advanced devotees, the more we see how they carry themselves, how they associate, how they speak, how they, yeah, there's so many things that we can learn from spiritually advanced devotees just by watching their behavior, their speech, their demeanor, their interaction, their choice of words, and the list goes on. And just watching them, we learn. And that's the kind of association we want, so that we can increase our own knowledge, our own revelation, and improve our struggles and joys in devotional life. Absolutely, I agree. And it's only from this, from the pure devotees and the spiritually advanced devotees that we can actually learn and see that. No doubt. I mean, I have been blessed by, is aside from our spiritual master, I've been blessed by being with other spiritually advanced devotees, and really have learned really how much they tackle situations, how they speak, and how they cut off, and how they don't get into it. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yes, thank you for bringing the point up. Thank you. Anyone else has a takeaway to share before we end? Any thoughts, anything that's coming to your mind, any reflections, realizations? I hope this class was beneficial to all of us, and it has been for me. Definitely very, very beneficial for me
I'm
to
gonna,
really.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going to throw in one more thing.
Yes.
When we meet spiritual masters, wherever we meet them, come around, if you want advice from them, here's a question that I use a lot. And, it's up to you. I'm not better than anyone, but I see that it works a lot for me. So I'll just throw it out to devotees. When you see a spiritual master, you offer your obeisance to him. The first question you should ask is, Maharaj, can you give me some tips on how to be a better devotee?
Yes.
Put it out plainly like that, and just leave it from. You will get so much advice from different spiritual masters when you do that. Just thought I'd throw that in. Just ask that question: how to
Yes.
make myself a better devotee?
Actually, I remember Nitya Gopal asking that question in one of the Sunday program class. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I was pretty sure it was him, and it was the same question, and we had the same answer, and he was appreciating that too. Yes, I remember that. Yep, that is the best thing to do, is get their mercy, get their blessings, how to become a better devotee, and with guidance and instructions. Yes, absolutely. That is the right mood, actually. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. If anyone does not, if others don't have a question or a comment or a takeaway, we thank you all for joining us, and we hope that you have benefited from this class as much as I have, because I mean, just reading Prabhupada's quotes is so powerful for me. So powerful. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing all of you this Sunday for our Sunday program. Until then, Vanchakrapatibhyascha Kripasindhabeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Bless you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you,
Thank
Prabhupada.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hari Hari Bol.